One of the things that really impressed me is watching the Kodo video with the guy in the back with the big baseball bat thing and just hitting the drum. So when I started to play taiko, I'm like, that's what I want to do. I want to stay in the back and whack the big drum. And so we always thought about making a really big one.
First of all, we didn't have any taiko, and we are asking that like Buddhist church or cultural center.
Not only were we making up the music, we were also making the instruments.
Well, we needed more drums, so I looked in the catalog. It was out of question. It was $1,000 then.
I saw in junior high school and high school going to manual arts and crochet that people were making their own conga drums.
We just went around to hardware stores, looked at barrel. We bought a nail keg at first, this really soft pine wood barrel with nails in it. So the guy thought we were crazy. We said, we want the barrel, we don't want the nails.
I kind of make jokes about it, but it has to do with this kind of Yankee ingenuity.
太鼓をね、手作りで作るっていうこと自体がね、サプライズだったんですね。びっくりしました。あ、そういうことができるのかなと。それで僕たちもその高い太鼓を買わなくても、自分たちでもこのワインの樽を使って作れればいいなという感じをそのロサンゼルスの人たちからね、僕は勉強しましたね。
I don't think the wine barrel taiko would have ever been invented in Japan, for example, because I think people in Japan are stuck with, well, a taiko is this.
I remember being there and holding with a pair of pliers on one end.
And went to the other side and pulled it with a plier and said, quick, you know.
I think we all discovered very soon that there's something wrong with this way. It's not a very effective way of doing things. But that's the way we started making our drums. It was like lopsided and, you know, whatever. It wasn't very tight, and it was a lot of work to do it that way.
You know, I talk to Kinna people very primitive way to make a skin, poor skin. So I told them use the kajak.
Back up in L.A. at the Senshing Temple, it was time for me to attend Taiko Drum Making 101. As Johnny showed me how he makes the drums, using a barrel and thick cowhide and some muscle.
Boy, that thing is stretched out. You sure this thing isn't gonna...
No, it won't pop.
Every time we do this, kajak wasn't strong enough. We broke many.
Realizing that you have zero, that we have to be as creative as possible. And we knew at the very get-go that that was not wrong. We may have questioned, is this authentic? And we knew that we could never be authentic, given that we would never have the authentic materials.
And then we were using chairs, propping up on chairs. And then we were using these tripods, kind of like Boy Scout made tripods. And then we would just have these bare barrels, right, with these straps around the outside.
And just being able to hear from other taiko makers what they were finding and inventing. Oh, let's try that, let's try that. And so it was always evolving.
It was all real crude. We worked with what we had. We acquired one big oak barrel. And Mark, since he lived on the farm, was able to get a fresh cowhide. And he defatted it, dehaired it, and treated it out on the farm.
Well, every group in the country at that time were making their own drums. And it was nice at that time because everybody was sharing information about how to make drums. And I cut these into smaller pieces, and then I finger joint pieces together so I get a thicker stave.
Mark Miyoshi, he took taiko making to a totally different level. He got really involved in it, went to Japan and he studied.
In Japan, you know, what they do is that they'll cut out a round from the middle, and then they use that for a smaller drum. Making a drum like this size, so you need a tree that's maybe 30 inches in diameter. That's a big tree. You know, that's an old tree. So if you're making it out of staves, you don't need as big a trees. But when I make my drums, I try to I put myself into them, you know, and that's who I am. And so my belief is this Winnemem spiritual way. So the way, say, Buddhists think about the drum is really no different than what Native Americans think. You know, there's a whole universe inside this drum, and this drum is made of, you know, the skin of an animal, you know, the four-legged ones, and the tacks are from the earth. The wood is standing ones, and the whole world, you know, goes into this drum, and like a new drum, a new spirit is born, you know, when that last head is tacked on or put onto a drum and is played, you know, for the first time.
Every drum to me has a spirit. And the first and last rule is to put your energy into the drum, receive the energy. Put your spirit into the drum, receive the spirit from the drum. So that flow has to be happening, that connection has to be happening.
We learn that the only way to draw the spirit out is to play it with proper technique and proper attitude. And so I understood that on the surface level, but as soon as I learned the process of what it takes to actually skin the hide and tack it to the drum, it became a different thing. I really feel like each drum has its own personality. They all have their unique sound. They all are individual, and I view them almost like people.
A lot of people don't understand what struggles we went through, and I think it's really important because it's really easy for the kids to take advantage and take for granted the equipment that we have, and they don't realize in their first years we made all our own drums.
What I think is great about the groups in the United States and North America is that everything is done from scratch, which is really getting back to the basics.
So then I started talking to different people that were making taiko at the time, and started using my techniques plus their techniques, and ended up making taikos.
The majority of groups here in this country, they make their own drums, and I think that's really great. You know, drum making has become like a folk art here.
We don't make everything traditional, we make American way. So if that's will make people in Japan happier, I think that's better.
There was a Japanese taiko player who knew that we had made our drums in the past and asked, do you have any instructions as to how to make a drum? And I said, well, they're very, very old, you know. Yeah, I'll send it to you. And so the year after we saw him, he said, I made it. Yes. And he felt so proud. So it was kind of really great to see this full circle Japanese taiko coming to the US, and then like our tweaking going back here and seeing it introduced back to Japan was like